What if I told you there was a biohack that could make you sexier, fitter, smarter, and happier? Well, there is. And it's actually pretty simple. All you need to do is go from this to this. Did you notice the difference? Not only is this backed by science, but it is also Andrew Huberman certified, so you know it's trustworthy. So in this video, I'm going to present the current research on why this is making you uglier, dumber, fatter, and more depressed. Then I'm going to give you 2 steps to radically change your appearance, your physiological performance, and also how you feel about yourself. But first, I want to change the way you think about breathing. So this is a candle, and I'm going to light it. But I have to use one of these because you know those lighters where you do this? Yeah, I can't use them, so this will have to do. The flame, just like you and I, has to breathe. So here's a quick chemistry lesson for you. The process of breathing is really just a chemical reaction. In the case of the candle, your fuel source is your wax. Once I add heat from the lighter, the oxygen in the air reacts with the carbon in the wax, breaking the carbon bonds to form carbon dioxide, water, and releases a lot of energy. In this case, heat. Fuck, that's hot. I mention this because we do the same thing. We breathe in air, oxygen saturates the bloodstream, the oxygen-rich blood is pumped all throughout the body, where it reacts with glucose to form carbon dioxide, water, and releases energy in the form of movement and also heat. I will let my uncle explain it another way.
No, power in firebending comes from the breath, not the muscles. The breath becomes energy in the body. The energy extends past your limbs and becomes fire. Get it right this time.
Everything we do is tied to the breath. It's where our fire comes from. But if I starve the flame of oxygen, the flame will go out. And as you'll see, only 1 in 2 of us are breathing correctly. Do you remember the last time you were sick with a cold, flu, or maybe COVID? Your sinus is congested and your nose is completely blocked. And the only way to get oxygen into your body is through your mouth. Do you remember how you felt solely relying on mouth breathing? It's bloody awful. Energy is low, breathing is difficult, and as it turns out, the mouth is far worse at delivering oxygen into the body than the nose. Unfortunately, about 50% of the global population is in a chronic state of apnea. Apnea meaning not breathing. The reason is mostly contributed to habitual mouth breathing. When you breathe through your mouth, airflow through your nose is decreased. I mean, obviously, right? But what this means is bacteria gets a chance to increase in your sinus, causing more infection, colds, and more congestion, which causes less airflow through the nose and more mouth breathing. Congestion begets congestion. Additionally, since you're not breathing through your nose, air pressure in the sinus decreases, and as a result, the skeletal and muscular structure begin to atrophy. The face shrinks and becomes long, the chin recedes, the eyes droop, and your teeth become crooked. In this state, you are less attractive than what you could be. The decrease in airflow going to your brain is making you less intelligent than what you could be. Japanese researchers have actually tested this on rats and found that the rats forced to breathe through the mouth systematically perform worse at tasks than the rats allowed to breathe through their noses. This congestion inhibits sufficient oxygen going into the blood, so your cardiovascular performance is worse, and you sleep worse because you're not breathing. Sleep apnea is associated with ADHD, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, insomnia, depression. I mean, the list just keeps going on. According to the experts, no amount of snoring is normal. Mouth breathing is making you uglier, dumber, fatter, and more depressed. But luckily for us, with some changes, we can reverse all the damage we have done from years of mouth breathing. And it all starts with the jaw. Dr. John Mew. If you follow the self-improvement space at all, then you probably stumbled upon something called mewing. It's an internet trend to help you develop a better jawline. And when I first saw this, I thought, what bullshit. As it turns out, the British facial surgeon and dentist presented research on what was happening to our faces to cause these large breathing problems. He found that traditional orthodontic practices, like removing teeth and wearing braces and other devices, actually made the obstructions in the airway worse. Like, go figure, right? At the time, no one cared. Dr. John Mew was criticised and ridiculed. He was labelled a quack and would eventually lose his licence after getting sued several times. But with more studies supporting Mew's work, most notably the monograph by Sandra Kahn and Paul Ehrlich, it seems that John was onto something. What the latest research has found is our breathing problems and the effects thereafter are caused by an underdeveloped jaw. When jaws don't develop wide enough, the roof of the mouth moves up into the nasal cavities, creating obstructions. But there is good news. The bone in the center of the face, called the maxilla, is highly plastic, meaning it is malleable and can be reshaped. All we need are stem cells, and the way we produce stem cells is by engaging this muscle here, the masseter, our jaw muscle. When I was researching for this video, I stumbled along this. It's gum of gods. It's resin from the mastic tree in Chios, Greece, so let's give this a try. If I turn into Zeus, don't be alarmed. I thought this was meant to be gum. This isn't gum. Okay. It's becoming more gummy now, but it's also drying out my mouth. And it doesn't taste very nice either. Our human ancestors didn't have the same problems we have today. They had very wide jaws and huge nasal cavities. And this was true up until 500 years ago. The theory goes, as we learned how to cook, grow food, and process food at an industrial scale, our foods became really soft. Our foods have become so soft now that we don't need to put any effort into chewing. And so our masseter and maxilla do not fully develop, leading to long faces, receded chins, crooked teeth, droopy eyes, mouth breathing because of the congestion in the nose. So you only need 2 steps to correct your facial structure and your breathing habits. The first is chewing more, so you might want to try something like Gods of Gum. It is thicker gum than normal chewing gum, and so the jaw workout is more intense, and I can already feel it in my jaw. But honestly, I don't think this is needed, because if you can integrate harder foods more regularly into your diet, then that should be enough to build your masseter and maxilla. The second step is to breathe intentionally through the nose during the day and at night. And I'm doing this on 3 different fronts. 1, when at rest, I've been maintaining good oral posture, as suggested by Mike Mew, John Mew's son. He's also a dentist. You essentially want to create a vacuum such that the back third of your tongue sticks to the roof of your mouth. Since the tongue is such a strong muscle, as it's pressed up against the roof of the mouth, it is supporting the maxilla, which, as we know, opens up the nasal airways more. And I found that the more air that goes through these airways, the clearer they become. And get this, my hay fever symptoms have decreased. 2, when exercising, I've been forcing air through my nose rather than through my mouth. This includes intentionally breathing through the nose during rest sets at the gym and during cardiovascular exercise. The trick is to maintain your heart rate in zone 2, otherwise you risk going into anaerobic respiration, and then you have to deal with the build-up of lactic acid, which is no obvious no-go. 3 is to force air through my nose while I sleep. Plan to tape my mouth shut over the next few nights, so I will continue to do these 2 steps. First, to chew more, and second, to intentionally breathe through my nose. And at some time in the future, I will make an update video on how my progress has been. But for now, we're done. Except there is one more thing. It is clear to me that nose breathing can be one of the most important changes that you make. But the problem is making changes isn't easy. And when I look at my generation, Gen Z, I see why they appear to be the weakest generation ever. So I made this video here. It's about a mindset change that Gen Z can make so we can unfuck our lives and make some serious gains. As always guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.